look, everything you're telling me, you told me in July.
Yeah.
June.
Oh, I can't do it because of this, or I can't do it because of that. It's like, yeah, but that's never going to go away. Life still happens, doesn't it? Like an element of following the crowd, like following what everyone else is doing. What's the trend? I need to copy them. Just be your own trend. Do what you want to do.
Welcome back to The Conversation, where we're breaking barriers, building confidence and changing lives with the Let's Chat Girls podcast. Don't forget to subscribe.
And we're back for another episode.
Yay!
It has been a week and a half. I'm not going to lie to you all. I'm so sorry that we put the podcast up on the wrong day, but that tells you how the week has been. It's been a little bit stressful on my end, but it just got there. But I hope you enjoyed it. Another Diet Dilemmas out to answer questions. And we're kind of following on a little bit from some of the questions that we've been getting. So normally we do a Diet Dilemmas and a deep dive subject, and this would be our deep dive subject. But a lot of diet dilemmas that we got and a lot of, things we've had from our own clients revolving around the same kind of topic. So this is almost like an expanded diet dilemma where we're taking the multiple questions we're getting and rolling them up into one to look at basically how are we going to overcome the setbacks that January's throwing at us, and equally, how are people still staying motivated? Because I don't know about you, Jen, I had a lot of very motivated people beginning of January.
Yeah, beginning of January, the group chat was absolutely buzzing. A little bit quieter now. And I did say that. I said that to a lot of my clients at the beginning. I said, so one lady said, oh my God, I can't cope with this group chat. Like, it's so busy. Like, I can't keep up with the messages. And I was like, by the end of January, it'll probably be a bit quieter. That's just how it is, isn't it? Saying that, I've still got a lot of motivated people, maybe not motivated, they're just very consistent and they're just getting it done. Do you know what I mean? I feel like they are helping motivate my other clients, but I have got some people really struggling. And this week, I know me and you have had a lot of messages from clients saying they thought that it was going to be an amazing reset. It was going to be, everything and that they wanted and more. But actually now, it was Blue Monday, wasn't it, yesterday?
Yeah.
And they say
saddest day of the year.
That's where it all goes downhill. Week 3 in January.
I know. But I think there is, we have all these funny day names, right? Blue Monday and all the rest of it. But there is some, truth in it.
There is a reason why
there's a lot of people who, get to this time in the month who have started weight loss journeys at the beginning of January, all the best intentions, and realise that, the life struggles that perhaps we had in 2024 are perhaps still there, and that we maybe have to do a little bit more than just change up what we're putting on plates and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that initial kind of drive motivation is something that isn't just going to continue. We have to be very proactive in keeping that momentum going. And I think I have a lot of people, Jen, that say to me, my mojo's just going, I just don't feel motivated.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that happens. I don't feel motivated some days to get out of bed and parent.
Yeah.
Or,
I saw something the other day, actually, about motivation not being a thing. You have to find discipline. It's not really. Motivation is never going to stay. Like, you can't, it's not really a thing, is it? Like, you can feel excited, and I feel like that new year, new me thing is just everywhere. So you kind of just jump on the bandwagon, but actually that's not what it is at all. It's having that discipline every single day. And I try I'd say it all the time. My life is a bit of like Groundhog Day because it's the same, but I built those habits to make it feel like that. Like today, I didn't even think twice about just getting up, having my coffee, getting ready, making my shake, drinking my pint of water after the school run. That's just what I do every day. And it's not even a thing anymore because it's so normal. Whereas to someone else, how can you do that every day?
It's building routine, not trying to keep this elevated level of motivation.
Yes.
And I think another thing that comes into play is, well, like you said, at the beginning of the year, it's all like new me, like new year, new me, weight loss hype everywhere. Like everyone you speak to is talking about the health kit they're going to do, whether they're doing dry Jan or they book that charity walk or, whatever it is. And actually there is almost an element of FOMO. It's like, I want to change my life in January. I want to do all of those things. And then what kind of happens is, that FOMO changes to we're 3 weeks into January, and then people are going, oh, do you know what? We're going to go out the weekend because it's miserable, isn't it? It's Blue Monday. And then it's like, well, actually, I thought we all do this. We want to miss out on the health. We're not doing that anymore. Okay. No, I don't want to miss out on going out for food with you all. And so I think it's both a bit of the motivation that you had to start has done. It's like naturally it dies down a little bit. There's this reality of getting back to life and the stresses of life that haven't just magically disappeared.
Yeah, of course.
And then also we start feeling that little bit of FOMO again from the social events that are happening. Because whilst people will say it's easy in January, There's no social events in January. I've got a clear run. You know how we feel about clear runs on this podcast.
Yeah.
But actually, your social life don't end. Like, people are still doing stuff. People are still, everything that we were struggling with in like November. And I remember, Jem, you said on an episode of the podcast, I can't remember which one it was, when we were talking about the lead up to Christmas, and you were like, look, everything you're telling me, you told me in July.
Yeah.
June.
Yeah. It doesn't ever change, does it? You can say it all the time. People do that to me all the time. Oh, I can't do it because of this, or I can't do it because of that. It's like, yeah, but that's never going to go away. Life still happens, doesn't it? But I think it's like you said with the FOMO, it's like an element of following the crowd, like following what everyone else is doing. What's the trend? I need to copy them. Just be your own trend. Do what you want to do. And I think that's what set me apart when I did it. I really remember thinking, I don't care what anyone else is doing. This is what I need to do. I need to change my life. I need to change because I'm unhappy. They might think that I'm happy, but I'm not. And actually, it doesn't matter what I'm eating or drinking. It doesn't affect them. I can still see them. Again, we've covered this. You can still go and have a coffee in a bar. You don't have to have the lunch with them. It doesn't make any difference. You're just with the people. And I had to really accept that early on. Like, this is what it is. This is what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop my life. I'll just take my products with me. Like I was taking Finley's milk and nappies in the bag. Like it was just done. Like it, very black and white with me, as you can tell.
You need to have a little bit of that. And right, again, I don't plug often on this podcast, but it is actually a podcast episode that we did. We did an episode of the Mindset course on boundary setting. I do think that a lot of the time, a lot of my clients this week, for example, where we've been having these conversations, I've put forward the question to them, like, have you set those boundaries in place? Have you had those conversations? We talk about it time and time again, that you can't treat what you're doing with your health and your diet as an illicit affair and expect nobody around you to like put any pressure on you if they don't know what you're doing or what's important to you. You know, and a lot of them had said, you know, I told them I am kind of doing something, but it's like, no, but have you explicitly said to them, I want to go and do this, but let's just cut the food out for the time being. I'm really working on that. Or if they're like, yeah, but they, you know, I've done it before and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, have you been actually honest with them and said, this isn't just about me losing weight. Like, I'm working on my relationship with food. I'm working on the fact that I'm an emotional eater. Like, have you explained like why this is important? And a lot of the time they're like, oh, I don't want to.
It's always no. I've never had anyone say, oh yeah, I've told everyone. Like, that just doesn't happen. People don't want to talk about it, and not even necessarily saying the plan that you're on or it doesn't matter what you're eating and drinking. Like, why does that matter to them? Actually, it's the reasons why you're doing it, isn't it? Like, I remember saying to my friends, I don't feel like myself. I'm unhappy and I'm doing this for me. And they were like, all right, fair play. Whatever, you know, you can't get on with it. And then, exactly. Like, don't get so moody about it. But then like 8 weeks later, they're like, shit, you look good. Like, what are you doing? Then they want to know details. Then they all got on plan. So yeah, you've got to do what you want to do. You've got to be a bit, it's not even selfish. I shouldn't even say selfish. It's not
selfish.
Doing it for you, because that's what's most important.
I arguably would say it's selfless, right? Because if
it is selfless, you're right.
And you have boundaries in place, I know for me, I'm calmer, I'm less ratty with the people around me. I get more done. I'm more present with the people that I'm spending time with. Like, it's a false economy to not put your priorities at the forefront. It's so important. Like, we're going through a lot at the minute with Pops. You might have seen on Instagram, I've kind of briefly touched on it. And any other time in my life, but notably last year when we were going through a lot of stress with her, I did completely put what I needed to the side. Everything for me and Jamie was no longer of any importance, and it drove us into such a low, dark place. But this time, you know, I've had people say, I can't believe what's going on, because I saw what you were like when this situation was happening, and Rach, you were falling to pieces. And now you at least seem to have some amount of control over it.
I can see that. And actually, a lot of clients say that to me. Like, they feel more patient. They feel like their head's clearer. They've got more, I don't know, just sleeping better. Like, everything about your life is different when you're in control of it. Not necessarily on plan, just in general, being in control, isn't it, of what you're fueling your body with and how you're taking care of yourself and your mind and everything else. You do live a completely different life. And I know that. I think we all know that firsthand, how fast you can spiral, and I can't cope with anything when I feel like that. I feel really strong when I'm in control. I'm like, I can do anything. I can conquer the world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
changes
I'm not like that whenever I'm not like, and it's little things, right? So it's like taking the time to still put some makeup on my face.
Yes.
Which sounds so daft, but
no, I
our episode
agree.
on love languages, it will all make sense.
Yeah.
But like taking that time, yes, I could go and put the washing away. Yes, I could arguably clean the bathroom, but actually that I know is going to make me feel a bit better that day and a bit more like I've got my shit together.
Me too. I prioritise that today. My kitchen's a shithole.
Same. If you could
I'm out here hiding from it.
My makeup is currently all over this bed.
But you look amazing.
Thanks so much. I had the grand total of 2 hours sleep last night.
When you said that before, I thought, you look so good. How will you look like that on 2 hours sleep? I never know.
And BP Cosmetics, not BP Cosmetics, Be Perfect. BP's a different company. Be Perfect Cosmetics. I'll put our Nat's code in the thing.
I need some of this. Your skin looks amazing. I need it.
So good, isn't it? It's their matte foundation. It is excellent. And what I will say is very good shade range. I can't talk to the darker skin tones. But I have the issue that my skin is very porcelain, and so you can only imagine in the 2000s the kind of like orange face that was going on. And even now, where I'm very porcelain and very cool toned, really struggle with a lot of high street and more expensive foundations. They don't work.
I can't use matte because I suppose I've got maturer skin. I can't use matte because it makes me look really dry and wrinkly. Basically,
you know what though? I've got both. I've got the matte one, which I really like, and I've also got the luminous one. Is beautiful.
That's what I would want.
It is such a gorgeous finish on the skin.
Is it?
I've got very boring skin. I can kind of wear either, but especially now when I'm super pale because I'm not fake tanning all the time, the matte one just sits better on my skin. I have a look at them, and they're so cheap.
I know, I need to. And then with Nat's discount as well.
You get extra bits off. But that's like that for me and you is something that was like, right, that is a priority.
Yeah,
like,
we've always said that. Get dressed, do your hair, put some makeup on, and you can go about your day with confidence.
The hair is scraped back.
Mine's actually in a hairband because it's very greasy. So, okay, we're lying.
Yeah. But do you know what, right? You put a headband on and I put mine half up, half down, kind of. In fact, I actually haven't taken this out since I got up this morning. I've basically just brushed the back of it. So
but it looks nice. It does look nice. You look put together anyway.
If Amy sees this, she will kill me because I'm not meant to be having tension.
Oh, you said, you're not supposed to be because you've got breakage.
Yeah, but you know what? I just can't help it because it's like what you do. Like, how do you style?
Can you get like a little clip? Can you put like a little claw clip at the top, maybe just to hold the top bit out? That would look nice.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Nice and gentle.
Should do that. But all of that to be said, the point of this is that yes, it's important that you put your priorities first. Because a lot of the time, what is happening at this moment is life is coming in, and perhaps things weren't done initially because you felt awkward. You didn't want people to know. You wanted to see how you started getting on.
Yeah.
Which we will always be like, please tell some people, because when this part happens, it's normally because people are starting to feel like they're having to come up with excuses.
Yes.
Like lie.
Yeah.
Like try and hide things. And
or cancel, not bother going. And you don't want to miss out on life. Like, you don't need to miss out and lie and say you're ill because you don't want to go and deal with it. Actually go and deal with it. That could be the game changer.
Yeah. Do you know, I had a client this week and she messaged me on Saturday. She was like, Rach, expected Chinese meal.
Yeah.
In the deck. And I was like, okay, we've got this. Super proud of you for reaching out to me.
Really positive.
Proud.
Good, yeah.
And she was a bit panicky. I'm not going to lie that first. That's fine. Give me all the emotion. I will absorb it and you can get it out of your head. So we made a plan. We talked through everything. I messaged her back like some options. And I was like, you need to make sure that when you go out later, you send me a picture of what you're having and you message me. Not so I can mark it. I'm not Gillian McKeith willing to be like, you are what you eat. Because you need to acknowledge what a huge thing this is that you've done.
Yes, definitely.
Never would you have done this before. You probably would have just gone, sod it, it's Saturday night, the girls want to go out, Rachel I'll deal with on Monday. So she did incredible. Yesterday, when we had our check-in call, she was a little bit down. She was like, I'm feeling not really good. Obviously I had that Chinese on Saturday night, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, look, your brain is going to a place where it's thinking, I've done something that in the past would have been the catalyst to perhaps things spiraling. And that's what you're scared of. This is coming from the patient scared now.
Yeah, what you've done before.
Exactly. But you need to reinforce in that beautiful mind of yours that actually that you can't go back because you've already taken quantum leaps forward. You've already done something that is fundamentally different to what you've ever done before. So you've enabled yourself to not have to have that restriction in socializing or not being able to see your friends or, all of that, because we've been able to bring that little bit of balance in where you can do that. Now, do we do that every other day? I wouldn't do it every other day personally. But it's important, I think, that you look at what is it that I'm feeling like I'm struggling with now and be really open to suggestions on actually, okay, how can I change things so that this is going to last longer term? You know what it's like, Jen. People come in January like 2-in-1B, I'm on it, just products, nothing else. And then you kind of think already, like, you just told me that family meal times are really important with the kids. And that you have got this event and this event, but okay, like we'll go with
I love that, because I find that's normally the bit where people go, oh, well, this is different. I've not done it like this before. Like, so I can go out for a meal. I'm like, of course you can go out for a meal. Like, that's okay. That is, in the moment, probably one of the biggest changes, I think, for most people, especially on 1B or the lower steps, because it's that all or nothing. That's all they've ever done. They've only ever been on plan or completely off plan. So when they suddenly go out and don't have to feel guilty, I mean, they do feel guilty the first couple of times because that's a natural feeling, isn't it? How we've always felt. But that's why it's so important, like you just said, to reach out, talk about it, be accountable. It is talking about it in because a lot of people go out and cheat and then don't tell anyone, just get back on my diet on Monday. And that is the diet cycle. That is the mentality that we all used to have. I was exactly the same. I thought I'd ruined it. I've ruined my diet. But actually, I think because we talk to our clients a lot about going out and how important that actually is in your journey, that is the change. That's one of the first changes that people need to make. And
it's huge.
To navigate a menu is a skill. Once you learn how to do that and be able to eat a lovely, satisfying meal and not feel guilty, it is amazing. It's like the best feeling ever to go home and think, wow, I really enjoyed that, but I'm still 100% on track to reach my goals. Like, that's a lovely feeling.
And there's a lot of having to learn new things. I talk a lot about this with my clients, both one-to-one and in our courses that we do, is that just because you're feeling something that is a bit uncomfortable or that you're not used to is not a bad thing.
No.
That is the sign that things are changing. We like that, actually.
That's
when
exactly
you tell me
what we
I'm
want.
feeling a bit unsteady, I'm feeling a bit anxious, I'm like, change is happening. This is really good. Because your brain doesn't like change necessarily, so we have to guide it through. That is why you need support, because your mind is going to play you, and it's going to it's going to make this impossible. You need someone who is detached to talk to you and that you can trust in what they're saying. And I said to my clients that is the biggest thing about this for me is, as much as you're on your weight loss journey, you're on a journey of building trust with yourself. It's like if somebody treated you the way you've treated you with your weight for the last God knows how many years, would you trust them? And they were like, no, absolutely not. And I'm like, exactly. And what they would have to do to re-earn your trust, that would be quite big, wouldn't it? I was like, yeah. And I was like, and it would probably take quite a while. She's like, yeah. And I was like, that is what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You're having to build trust with yourself. And as much as I wish, we could give you one episode of a podcast, or I could throw you an ebook and it would be done.
Yeah.
It takes time to build. And I find a lot of people also have that when they go into maintenance. If maybe they haven't done as much work on that in their weight loss, that's the big wobble people have, I always find, in the beginning of
I would say so. Yeah.
Is you just don't trust yourself. You don't trust to know when I'm hungry, how am I feeling? How am I going to respond to this? Am I going to just spiral into a binge? If I do binge, how am I going to get back from it?
Sometimes when people are 100% on a lower step for a long period of time, that's when it can sort of crash and burn, isn't it? When the real work starts kicking in. So actually it's really important to have those nights and actually have those planned days that we can, especially, and holidays as well. I feel like holidays are a big one. So we talk about, creating those new healthier holiday habits, not being on plan necessarily, but actually making changes, because a lot of people do not want to make changes on holiday. I hear a lot, well, this is what I do on holiday, or this is what I normally have on holiday, or this is what I will be having because I'm on holiday. And it's like, but that's what you've always done. So you have to change that. It's uncomfortable. It is.
But that is not a bad thing. We don't need to turn away from discomfort. And also there is an element of, if you've always, kind of gone on to plans in January and they flopped, that you know, there is like a muscle memory, history repeating itself. This is what your brain knows how to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's an element of you naturally wanting to just say, well, that's it done now. Like, this is what happens. I do a few weeks and then it all goes to crap. So there's also an element of us being like, right, I want to hold your hand through this and guide you through this bit. None of you struggling at the minute, if you're listening and you're struggling, none of this struggle is because you haven't got the right motivation, or you haven't got the right dedication or drive or anything like that. It just means that perhaps you haven't implemented the tools around you outside of what we're eating to navigate what is it's a mind game for a lot of us, and you need support to kind of get through that. But I think if you are struggling, I'm sure you'd agree, Jem, my biggest advice is you need to reach out to whoever's supporting you.
It's all I ever say. Yeah, be honest. Yeah, be honest. Talk about the struggles. Own them, own them and be willing to learn from them, basically, because, you have to feel those feelings to be able to change them. So, yeah, you do have to reach out, and that can be the most uncomfortable thing for all of our clients. And, whoever's supporting you, like you said, whoever's your support network, reach out to them and talk about it.
And it was so funny when I was speaking to that client yesterday on the phone, and at the end of the call it was fantastic because we really felt like we made headway with it. But I was like, I got a bit on the soapbox. I was talking to that chimp in her brain, and I was being like, you listen to me now, chimp. And after I finished what I was saying, I said to her, like, what's your brain just said to me? Not what are you saying to me? But when I was saying all of that to you, what was your brain saying? And she got a little bit like, I could tell that she was like, I don't really want to say. And I was like, no, I don't care. I can promise you whatever you're about to say to me, I have said to myself. And I probably thought it, Jen, when we were talking, right? And she was so honest. And again, like, the level of pride I have as like a coach whenever people can be vulnerable. And, she was saying, well, you're saying this now, but I know it's probably not going to work. And you're just saying it to be nice. And I was like, yes, good. Now let me speak back to that. The more honest people are, the more we can work on the actual root of stuff that's keeping us as trapped. And again, build up that trust, because you need that long term to manage your weight. You need to be able to trust yourself with food.
You do. I agree 100%.
100%. And hopefully if you have been struggling, that has given you a little boost this morning. I always say you're only one meal away from being back on plan. Okay, so regardless of what's happened, regardless of what you've done today, regardless of what happened last night, you have got the opportunity. And don't forget, being on plan is not like, doesn't have to be one way. It could be going and getting a drink, like you say, Jem. Go and have your pint of water. Go in, do that. Go in, listen to another episode of the podcast if you feel it's going to help your mindset. All of those things make such a big difference.
Such a big difference.
I will see if I can tag in the cards on YouTube some of those courses episodes we've done on the podcast, so that you can go and have a watch of those. The boundaries, the love languages, they are really good, and we had some really good conversations doing.
And I feel like we've spoken about it a lot, haven't we? So it'd be good to go back and listen.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about listening, I don't know if anyone's noticed the difference in sound.
I hope it sounds all right. I'm nervous.
We are, I know. I mean, from what I can hear, it sounds a lot better.
And this is all new to me, because I've got a laptop now with a camera up there, and I keep forgetting, and I'm looking at us, and I need to.
I know, I do that when I'm editing. Sometimes I notice that we're looking in other places, and I'm like, look in the camera. But we really hope that the sound has improved for you all. This is just like part one of the upgrade for Jem as well, because she will be getting the new mic.
My new mic coming.
But we realised basically we've been recording this whole podcast for nearly a year, and Jem actually hasn't had a mic connected to her phone.
A little fluffy mic wasn't connected, apparently.
Honestly, it was like, when you're like, of course it wasn't. Like,
why is it like that? It's supposed to be a good mic. And we learned, didn't we? Because I did a video on Instagram with my mic, which sounded perfectly clear.
And I was like,
that's not what it sounds like on the podcast.
So we have hopefully solved that issue, and hopefully what we're going to do is go back as well and have a look at some of the old content, and hopefully look at revisiting some topics that we've maybe covered before, but record them in a slightly better quality. And
I think so. I can't listen to the old one, so I would like to do that.
I can't either. So we will get that done. But as always, thank you so much for joining us. Please do subscribe. Make sure that you do give the episode a thumbs up, or give us a 5-star review on Spotify if you're listening on that platform. If you are listening and want to leave a comment and be part of the cool gang, then leave down below a water drop. because we all need to go and drink our water. Like I said, we're only one drop away from being back on plan.
Yes.
So water drop this week. We have a little secret emoji at the end of every episode. So
I like this.
Gang, we all know the truly dedicated people that are listening. And as always, you can catch up on our socials. Me and Jem always have them linked down below, as well as the Diet Dilemma link, where you can submit your diet dilemmas or your slimmer successes. But until next week, it is goodbye from me.
And bye from me.
And we will see you again really soon.